I'm really sorry that my test bench isn't completed yet, so I couldn't film when testing this card. So you'll just have to believe me that it didn't work. Well, not on the first try or second, but on third try it did work. So there were two problems. First, maybe it was this or this pin that was loose. And this resistor, I used 10 kilo ohms, but it's actually 10 ohms. So that's the reason why it couldn't be found on the donor card. And of course this 10 ohm resistor was there. I think it was, let's see, I think it was this R51 here. But now, now this works. So we can move on. Also here's the OPL chip. Now that I've cleaned it, there's still more cleaning to be done, but that'll have to wait until I finish the whole card. Let's move what is the easiest part of this project. Digital sound processor, as Creative calls it. It's actually Intel microcontroller with Creative code running on it. So the reason why we need to remove this is because of the MIDI bugs it has, like hanging notes. I'm going to program another chip, program with S95 sedans version 4.17 1.0. Yeah, that's a bit tricky version number. It simply means that DSP reports 4.17 to the PC, and this release is version 1.0, so the worst one. I'm going to put links in the description so you can find it there. But yeah, what I'm going to do is remove this DSP chip, put the socket, hopefully right way this time. Yes, it goes like this. There's the indicator hole and there's the arrow, but more importantly, it's this corner that you'll have to watch, because I'm going to remove this inner plastic. Because of these cheap Chinese sockets, they can't stand heat much, and the low melt solder paste I have is also a cheap Chinese one, and it leaves very tiny solder bubbles behind, and it's sometimes impossible to clean them all. So it's better to remove this inner plastic rectangle and just use soldering iron to solder all the pins. And it looks like I'll have to remove this crystal because it's a bit on the way. I can move it slightly closer to SIM slots, so it'll be fine. Also, I think it might be easier to remove this DSP chip once that's out of the way. So let's get started. I'll I'll add vintage flux. Also, I could use the cheap low melt Chinese solder paste as well. It's not good for soldering, but it works quite nicely for desoldering. I'm going to use it once to remove the capacitors later, so you'll see. It might help. It was so hard to clean the holes from those 3 capacitors we added around the Yamaha DAC. But this one first. Those small capacitors and resistors might most likely move, so I'll just have to be careful not to lose them, because I'm going to desolder them whether I want it or not. Perhaps I could have and should have used some protective tape, but too late now. Certainly won't stay with all the flux on the board now. On most cards, recapping would be the easiest part, but not on this card, because of the ground plane. It's just uses so much heat and makes removing the capacitors much harder. Yeah, I was supposed to remove that crystal first, but I'm not going to stop now. Oh, no, almost. Now let's clean it. Okay, I think that's good. Yeah, it's basically one pin off. This one should be here, but it might be enough to remove that solder blob. Let's see. I think I might have needed a bit more heat. Let's try 370. I guess nothing goes as planned on this video. It didn't really improve anything. So the hard way is it is then add some fresh solder while the desoldering station heats up. Doesn't really stuck, and I have this soldering iron at 370 degrees at the moment. Flux. I'm going to heat this board. So I need to be careful. That's a SIM slot there. I don't want to melt it. Yeah, pretty much what I expected. Only the fresh solder is gone. Yeah, we'll add some more. Our microscope is on the way. Let's try to straighten the pins. Oh, I can't get it under. No. Maybe my other soldering iron would be better at this. No, we're getting somewhere. Not the other. Actually, oh, it's enough. I get this other side. Maybe I should try that low melt solder paste.
Greetings, mortal. Are you ready to die?
So I'm going to need to move microscope up a bit. There's just simply not enough space. Maybe that's better. On this side as well. Maybe I'll just make a mess. Let's try it anyways. Maybe I could lift it from this side. Now that the other side is there's much less solder. No, I don't think I can get anything between. What we'll do is this instead. Now That's better. See how easy it now removes when it's not connected to the ground plane.
Greetings, mortal. Are you ready to die?
We'll worry about that side later. Let's concentrate on the socket first. Now it will surely fit. Except it don't. I need to bend this a bit. No. It's a tight width. I think I could cut this a bit, but that might just cause small problem. Maybe I can bend this somewhat better. Let's try. Now it's good. Not perfect, but close enough. So let's put the card away for a bit and work on this one. Because this is not a very good quality socket, it's very easy to remove. Just like this. This is a dull blade. I should have replaced it, or just. I think it's quite dull everywhere. Well, no matter. It's very easy to remove that one, and those plastic tabs that are left behind can be just very easily removed. There you go. Perfect. Okay. Yes, that's correct way. So, fresh good flux is what we need right now. That looks about right. Flux just hides those pins quite a lot, but no worry. Just one pin first. And something from the opposite side. Then we'll check. Oh, sorry, it's I've really not used to the microscope. This may be low quality socket, but there's one good thing about them. It's those SMD capacitors and resistors. They just fit below that socket. There are some Sound Blaster models that have those SMD components even closer. So you'll just have to put the socket on top of them and they'll get invisible or almost invisible. But here we can actually see them. And it looks like our socket is very well. So we can continue soldering the remaining pins. Maybe they don't fit under the socket perfectly because the pins seem to float a little bit, so it just needs enough solder. It's very easy to leave unconnected pin like I did on the Yamaha duck. I think we should start from there. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I didn't clean the old DSP. I want it to be in usable condition because we're going to test the card with it. If everything works, then I'll put in the new DSP. And also, if someone wants to restore this card to use original DSP for some reason. Wait, why? I thought those are not aligned. That's good at. Well, it doesn't matter, they're good enough. I need more solder. We'll take a closer look once I've soldered them all. What was the side that was? This one. This isn't soldered yet. It is possible to do this DSP mod without microscope, but microscope sure helps. That's for sure, especially when inspecting that everything is soldered correctly. Now I'm going to clean it a little and then we'll take a closer look. I'm going to clean this board better when done, but take a closer look how it looks. I think it's perfectly fine, but this time maybe we should poke around with the needle so we can be sure nothing moves. Very good. I see I must have touched this with soldering iron, but it's not that bad. Yes, everything is connected. Once this is cleaned properly, it is possible to glue this back on. Perhaps best reason would be to keep that arrow to mark the first pin, but also it's not necessary because we have this edge here. But also this might help when removing the chip, because if it's pushed too down and it needs to be removed, it's possible that something gets scratched or possibly these traces gets broken, especially if it's removed with screwdriver. But this socket it's now very good. But we need to take care of this one. There's of course no room to put it back here. So we'll just cut it and solder only the other side. That's good. Need to clean this mess. Maybe I'll just leave it there. Looks more original. But I need to clean everything, of course. And add some solder. So it was completely unnecessary to even try to remove anything from back side. Maybe this all helps you if you want to do this kind of mod someday. It's good for now. I haven't recapped this particular board yet, so I want to make some capacitor list in case I'm going to recap my card later or someone else's card, so I know what kind of capacitors I need to keep here or order. Oh, and one very important thing when recapping Sound Blasters and many other sound cards as well. Size of the capacitors matters quite a lot actually. What I mean is most of the capacitors can be at most 9 mm tall. because if I place full-sized doctor board ID card like so, then there's very little space between the MIDI card and the sound card. 9mm is the tallest possible capacitors you can use. Here at the right side of the card, there you can use whatever size, and at the top row as well, but pretty much everything from these mounting holes, there's not fourth one, only 3, but you can approximate it would be around there. Just perhaps measure maybe 1 centimeter extra and you'll get the area that might give you troubles if you install too tall capacitors, like I did before I noticed that one. Some clone cards I have seen actually use 11mm capacitors, and even though they have this wavetable header, you can't install a card, at least not, it won't be very good there. It may fall off or may not have proper contact or whatever. So just make sure you don't use too tall capacitors. Because they are so close together, you need to make sure that diameter isn't more than 4mm. So it may not be that easy to buy capacitors when you first time buy them, but the size does matter, physical size that is. And now we have. Oh, actually, let's there are one microfarad caps somewhere. Let's start with those. Actually, let's start with that 4.7. I'm going to mark it like that, 4.7, and then simply count and mark all of them 4.7. They are blue at this card, but they might be just the same color as everything else, because they're so close together. It's really really hard to see, but yeah, it looks like all the blue ones are 4.7 on this card. It makes actually things a little bit easier. Yeah, I think that's about all the 4.7 ones. Is it 16? Remember, those are the new capacitors we installed when soldering that Yamaha DAC there. Those black ones I'm using, they are Panasonic. Those are, I don't remember, but and then I'm going to use de-CQM audio caps here for the big ones. And actually, you should check any leakage, especially around these big ones, as they are most likely to leak. And also, they are only used for the speaker output, not line output. So if you use line out, your capacitors might leak and cause damage, and you might even not notice anything is wrong. Although I've not yet seen a sound card that would be corroded by the capacitors. But I have seen leaking capacitors, that's for sure. My Gravis Ultrasound Ace was one of those cards, and it had good de-CQM caps, but they still leaked. Let's take another color, like this green one. and try to find the 1 microfarad capacitors next. Those are one I know that because I see the 3900 at a broken mixer. Line input didn't work at all. So I traced where it goes, and it goes directly to the mixer through these caps. Caps were 1 microfarad and they were just fine. So I had to change the... Sorry, that's the mixer on this card. I had to change the mixer and everything just worked after then. I wonder if somebody plugged something that produces too much voltage to the line input, or maybe if it was broken from the factory, who knows. But it had broken mixer chip that otherwise worked perfectly. Only the line input was completely dead. But let's continue. That's 1 micro. Yeah, I think that's all of them. 1 microfarad capacitors. 6 of them. Let's take blue one, 2.2. Not many of those. Is it only the 2 of them? Yeah. Those were 10. These as well. 4 of them. Okay. I think we can start desoldering. I might just take those red ones that I marked first. And now I know it's going to suck lots and lots of heat, this board. Definitely need to heat it up before even trying to desolder anything. And I'm going to desolder with my bigger soldering iron. And of course with desoldering station. So low melt solder paste to every capacitors. I hope you can see what I'm doing, but the microscope is simply on the way. It's easier without it to do recapping. Is it everything? Those are the 3 ones I added. I think that's about everything. I really think this backside needs to be cleaned properly after using this stuff, because it leaves those tiny solder balls. Some of those capacitors seem to moved quite easier. Yeah. This low melt solder is definitely not good for soldering this Chinese cheap stuff, but yeah. Of course I need to clean the holes anyways, but yeah, that's easy. So I'm pulling them gently from the other side while heating the low melt solder paste on the back of the card. Very easy actually. Oh, that's hard. That one. Yeah, that was easy. I think only one 4.7 microfarad capacitor left. It gets too hot to hold on. Need to use yeah, that's hard. Still nothing. It's very stubborn. It's really stuck. There it goes. Now I need to clean those holes. Let's see how that goes. Oh, was it everything? Well, I think I need to clean from this side as well a bit. Some solder paste. Problematic holes. We just have to try if we can push the capacitor through. That's the way to do it. If nothing else helps. What else was problematic? Yeah, that went in really well. Next one. That was problematic. Is that the last problematic one? The rest will be easier. All the holes are free from solder. Okay. That's about it. Now we can cut those legs and move on. Yes, that looks good. Wait, what's this one? Oh, something fell and before I even soldered it. No. It's better. And we can move on to the next value, and that would be 1 microfarad capacitors, 6 of them. Next, the few remaining gaps, those big 100 microfarad, I think they are all. Yes, yes, and yes, yes, yes. 5 of them. Ah, looks like I missed 2 capacitors there, 1 microfarad, but well. I could just remove those two big ones as well. It's not that I'm going to mix them with something else because nothing is as large. That's how it should go. They should just drop out. Like they do on most boards, but not on this one. Let's see how much we need to struggle to get this in. Hopefully not much. Looks good. But does it work? We'll just have to find out. But first, one last little thing. We need to clean that old DSP. But that's quite easy. If there's too much solder on these pins, it might damage the socket. First I'm going to try the card with this old DSP, if everything works. It's time for the new DSP I've already programmed. We can program them on some other video if you are interested in how it's done. But there's nothing really special if you know how to use the programmer. Well, actually, there's just might be something special. The adapter that came with the programmer didn't work. I need to order more expensive one. But I need to test if it works with EEPROMs. The adapter that came with the programmer. I just cleaned the socket. No, I think it's fine. It's fine. Just remember, it goes this way. Like that. I don't push it all the way down, so I can get it out more easily. Okay, this card is now ready to be tested. This time, this card worked on the first try. No problems whatsoever. So I included the SIM memory that came with it, as well as the S2 MIDI daughter board. So this card is ready. But let's take another look at my CT3990, because I forgot to mention one thing. You might notice this heatsink. So why did I put that one there? The reason is quite simple actually, because the EMU 8000 early revisions gets very hot, maybe 80 degrees or something like that, but very hot. So this is simply to extend its life. This, however, later card, however, this didn't have that early revision. I tried that, but it only got slight warm to the touch, so no heatsink required. And also, if you take a close look, you might notice it's slightly off center, and the reason is again very simple. Let's put this full-sized daughter board here, and you'll notice it almost touches the edge of this daughter board. So it needs to be placed slightly off center. These two cards are now very similar. The above is plug and play, card below is non-plug and play. But both now have real OPL3. Both of them has DSP replaced. But this CT3990 is still better card, because it has IDE that actually works. You can use it to connect hard drives on old systems with one IDE. So this card works as a secondary IDE, and also it has this Panasonic CD-ROM interface that I like quite a lot actually, because I really like those old Panasonic dual speed drives. But I'm sure most of you don't need that one. So yeah, this one is now very good card. Only issue is the DMA clicking bug. But if you don't play those early games, then that might not even matter to you at all. And even if you do, well, the samples those games used are very low quality to begin with, so the DMA clicking might not be that much of a deal anyway. That's all for this card, and it's ready to be sent back. Thank you for watching, and see you on my next video. That really needs to be about making that test bench. Bye.